Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Eat Local New York podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Tringale, and this is a little bit of a unique episode. I'm actually on site down at the Javits Center and attending the Summer Fancy Food Show to record this podcast. I had this wonderful opportunity to meet with 4 individuals and have 4 brief conversations with them about what they're doing. And so in this podcast, I talk with Matteo Frescobaldi from Laudemio. And if you haven't heard of Laudemio, it is to call it, it's an incredibly high quality extra virgin olive oil that is really just in a league of its own. It kind of stands alone as its own with Laudemio. So I got to meet with Matteo and speak with him. I got to then go and meet with Piero Peduzzi from Rustichella di Abruzzo, a pasta company that has been making pasta for over 100 years and is shipping it all across the world to 70 different countries. They're actually known as the company that makes the largest amount and diversity of shapes of their of different pastas. So incredible to talk with him. I got to speak with Michele Fioroni, who is the deputy president in charge of economic development for the region of Umbria, and speak with him about not only the foods that are currently being produced in the region and being shipped all over the world, and there's so many of them. I got to attend this wonderful wine dinner that night and sample some different foods and really specifically some wonderful wines from the region. But also after our interview, I got to sample this black truffle pasta with truffles that came directly from their region that were just absolutely incredible, and speak with him about some exciting developments and them actually beginning to import prosciutto here to the United States beginning in 2025. And then my final conversation was with Vittoria from the Monti Trentini. Oh, almost slipped on that one. Vittoria from Monti Trentini, a cheese company in Italy that is producing just such massive amounts of cheese, but also producing Asiago and Grana Padano and a whole variety of other cheeses. And her family has been doing that for over 100 years. So it was just this incredible experience to go down and meet with these 4 individuals, 4 people I've never met in my life, 4 people who are a part of these families that are producing incredible foods that are not only exact representations of their region and their home and their family and their territories, but also that are being shared with people all over the world that can, if you can't travel to places like the region of Umbria to go, truffle hunting, well, at least you can get a taste of its culture and its food and its traditions when you purchase and consume products from the region. And so it was just this really wonderful experience. The fancy food show, it was the contrast was so vast. I mean, I was meeting with Michele, who is, again, deputy president in charge of economic development for the region of Umbria. Matteo Frescobaldi, his family has been producing wines for over 1,000 years in Italy. So meeting with someone like him, and then I met with, not on the podcast, but met with a gentleman who was out of Fairfax, Virginia, making his own Chipotle honey that he was trying to, get out there and spread the word about. So that to me was very interesting. The Frescobaldi family, for example, I'm sure, I know things were different 1,000 years ago, but, these are still families that have been producing food as a family, as a business, and they've been doing it for over 1,000 years. You take, Vittoria and her family and just producing cheese for almost 100 years. And to look at the stark contrast between this guy that's making Chipotle honey out of Fairfax, Virginia, versus this family in Italy that's been making cheese for 100 years. Both producing food and hoping that people are going to eat it and consume it and enjoy it. And that their product represents just a little bit of them. But the conversation with these families from Italy, these food producers who are so passionate about their area, their home, One thing that kept coming up in conversation with everyone was the experiencing the terroir of their region in their food. Maria Vittoria talking about how they move the cows, where the farmers where they buy their milk from, they move the cows to different regions, and how you'll be able to taste a cheese that comes from a different time of the year, where the cow was, depending if it was up on the mountain or down in the valley. It was just incredibly interesting. And so, yeah, it was just very, I don't know, maybe I'm not phrasing it properly, but to speak with these people who've been producing foods for over 100 years, and their passion for the food, their passion for their traditions, their passion for making sure that they're producing the best product that they possibly can. And I'm sure they have this it's not like, hey, I think this is the best, but like they know this is the best thing that could possibly produce. It was really incredible. And so I'm just trying to come back and try and make that connection between what I learned and experienced in meeting these business owners and how I could use that to help business owners here in our own area who are producing foods. I don't know. It was a very inspiring experience, wonderful conversations with these guests, and make sure you check out the show notes because I will be putting links to their websites and more information about each of them in the show notes. So without further ado, let's get into this conversation. My first conversation of the day is with Matteo Frescobaldi from Laudemio. So we are sitting here with Matteo Frescobaldi from Laudemio, and well, tell us a little bit about the history of your family and the company.
Okay, thank you. So Frescobaldi, which is our family and also the name of our company, has over 1,000 years history in Florence as a Florentine family. Then about 700 years ago, in the 1300s, we began our agricultural activities in Tuscany, producing both wine and olive oil and also cereal cultivation, for example. And we have been producing olive oil throughout all our history until 1985, when a very cold winter led to a frost where temperatures went down to minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit, and we lost all our olive tree production. And this led us to wanting to create a fine quality of extra virgin olive oil and a fine brand, just like a fine wine that indicates a certain territory. And so in 1986, we decided to launch the brand Laudemio, which would be, let's say, synonym for high quality extra virgin olive oils from our territory, which is central Tuscany, sort of around the city of Florence.
So tell me a little bit about what separates Laudemio from other higher end extra virgin olive oils.
Given the fact that we want to make a product that really comes from our territory, what really differentiates one product to another is the climate conditions, the soil characteristically. Ultimately, the term terroir, which is usually used for the wine industry, fits also the olive oil industry. Our territory makes the olives develop very green aromas and taste. So our olive oil is very green, meaning like grassy taste, artichoke notes, and also spice and pungent. And this is thanks to the climate conditions in our territory.
So what are those, what are those climate conditions that make it so unique for, Tuscany and for the production for Laudemio? Is it extreme heats and extreme colds? Is it, what are those things?
It's mostly cold. Olive trees originate from the Middle East in a way, so they're used to produce and live in warm areas. So olive oil production is more developed in warmer climates like the south of Italy or the south of Spain. But actually in our territory, where it's particularly cold, it is difficult to produce, but this cold weather makes the oil become very good and tasty because we are able to harvest the olives when they're not ripe. Whereas if you are closer to the sea or in the south, the warmer climate will make the olives ripe more quickly, and therefore the oil will be more mature. Instead, in our territory, our olive is more green and therefore less ripe.
That's very interesting. So what is it about the territory that, I know you mentioned some of the tasty notes, but what is it about the territory specifically that really brings out and sets you apart as this flavor? Because I don't believe that there's olive oil produced in upstate New York, but let's say there was, it would be two completely different flavor profiles, correct? I mean, even if I tried to plant the same species, variety of tree, it would be two completely different flavor profiles based on that territory. So what are those things that people can only taste in Laudemio?
I would say the main characteristics of our territory would be that in September and October, before we harvest, there is a lot of exchange temperatures from day to night. So temperatures go almost from 0 up to 25 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
And the olives become very, very green, both in terms of color. So the olive oil is really emerald green color, and in terms of taste. And this taste would be spicy and bitter at the same time, but in a pleasant way. Very round on the palate, and the aromas would be more like artichoke, arugula. And this, let's say this tasting profile would be completely different even within the same region of Tuscany if you are on the coast, where given to the proximity to the sea, the weather is more mild, so you don't have these exchanges in temperature, and the oils are more ripe, tasting, for example, more of tomato instead of artichoke.
Gotcha. Is there a specific use or a preferred use for your product over a typical extra virgin olive oil? I may fry my eggs in extra virgin olive oil, but I have a feeling talking to you that I would never dare do that with Laudemio.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was thinking in your kitchen you should use have one olive oil for frying and one olive oil for finishing. So Laudemio is definitely an olive oil for finishing. I would use it on most pizza and pastas, but the best I would say to try it is on like toasted or grilled bread. In Italy we put also a bit of garlic to make the traditional Tuscan fettunta. And also coming from Tuscany, where we eat a lot of steak, I think it's a great finishing oil for steak, both grilled and also tartare.
Okay, yeah, that's great. All right, so if I could ask you this quote, what's a typical weekday breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you?
Okay.
If you're back home.
Yeah. Okay. At home, I would say my breakfast is quite sweet, so I would go for a espresso and a cornetto, which is the Italian version of croissant.
Yeah.
For lunch, I usually have vegetables, like a vegetable soup. Okay. In Tuscany, we have ribollita, which is also very good. Ribollita is like a mix of vegetables and previous day bread. Okay. There was, too hard, and so in the soup it becomes more soft, and then at night it would be either pasta or once per week a steak.
Okay, once per week, that's good. Yeah. Have you ever had baked ziti before? No, I'm just kidding. That's a dumb joke.
I actually haven't.
Yeah.
I do have pasta al forno, but I never tried the baked ziti.
Have you watched The Sopranos? The baked ziti is pretty much the staple.
With some colleagues from the US, we laugh about it, like being a typical Italian thing,
exactly.
But no, we don't really do that.
Yeah. There's not probably many Italians running around with gold chains with Italian horns around their neck, if I had to guess, or wearing Yankee hats. Yeah, so how has the world of premium extra virgin olive oils developed over the recent years?
I think it has grown a lot. From the late 1980s when we launched Laudemio. Laudemio was the first brand talking about territory. Okay. To give you an idea, the Tuscan IGP, meaning the official certification of the European Union for oils made in Tuscany, was born in 1998. Wow. So 10 years after we launched the brand Laudemio, so which was in a way the first mover of high quality brands of olive oil. Mm-hmm. Now many producers are doing it. Many small producers produce high quality oils from every region of Tuscany, from Sicily to other regions in the south. So I think there's more and more an interest from both chefs and consumers in tasting different oils and also making different pairings. So you might go in a great restaurant in New York and the chef uses Laudemio on the steak and another oil on a fish branzino type of dish.
Yeah, I can almost picture a restaurant like specifically mentioning Laudemio on their menu as the oil they use, almost like they would with, other high-end specific products. Restaurants in America, especially nicer ones in the farm-to-table movement, will list specifically the farms that their beef or their pork or anything like that comes from. And I kind of get that similar sense from your product as well. It's not just finished with olive oil, it's finished with Laudemio.
Yeah, it adds value to the dish and it's proper. And that was really our idea, because when we made the brand Laudemio, the extra virgin olive oil was totally a commodity market, so people were just buying extra virgin olive oil no matter what. Instead, our idea was this was saying this is not olive oil, this is Laudemio. And we do see chefs writing on the menu, and for us it's just very rewarding.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time and chatting with me, and great to meet you, and best of luck here at the show.
Thank you so much.
And now is my conversation with Piero Peduzzi from Rustichella di Abruzzo. All right, so we're here again, Summer Fancy Food Show. We're here with Piero. Tell us a little bit about your company and some of the history of it.
All right, great. Yeah. So the company is called Rustichella d'Abruzzo. So sometimes people say Rustichella, but it's Rustichella. That is the correct name. And it's a 100-year-old company. So this year, we started operations. I mean, my great-grandfather started in 1924. So 2024, we celebrate our 100-year of history.
Wow.
We are proud of that. I have to say that it's an incredible milestone that we all together celebrating. So during this year, we did so many events worldwide because the brand is actually present over 70 countries around the world.
Wow.
So great history, leader in the segment of the artisanal pasta. So after 100 years, I can easily say that we know how to make pasta, that's for sure. And we are the unique pasta factory that makes the most amount of shape. So we do over 100 different shape of pasta. So that's make even unique all the story behind. One of the oldest pasta factory in Italy, the first one introducing whole wheat pasta to the market. So my grandfather, the father of my father, Piero Peduzzi, introduced to the market back in the 70s the whole wheat pasta. So I think we have a great history, and definitely I always say that the quality is everything that matters for us. It's the most important thing. So really giving all we have, all our passion, all our hearts to make a great product. So to make our customer feel happy, have an experience when they taste the Rustichella d'Abruzzo pasta. So this is the vision and also the mission that we have. Of course, make a great product, be leader in the market, but give experience, give something unique, a pasta that has a superior taste, a unique quality that really retain and absorb the soul. So sometimes many people want to know the history, but I always say that it's also nice to tell them that the experience is even more important than what my great-grandfather, me, and everybody does, because at the end of the day, you need to have the plate of pasta and you need to really experience, what makes you happy.
Right.
So that's what we do. I really, so even can tell you quickly why an artisanal pasta is different from an industrial product. So
please.
I always say that there are four interesting pillars. So the first one is that you have to use great raw materials. So they have to be the best. And our research and development team always search and select the best that you can find in the market. So first thing. The second thing, of course, is the use of this bronze dye. That usually I had it with me since yesterday, but today I forgot it in the hotel where I could show that the bronze gives that great surface, like roughness to the pasta that can really then attract and retain the sauce at its best. But they have to be real. So as we were discussing before, not the brass, because the brass gives the look of the bronze, but it's not bronze. So then when you eat it, all the sauce will be like down the plate, so nothing in the pasta.
Okay.
Third is the mastro pastaio, so the master of the pasta. So a man that is with us in over 40 years, that really, with a blink of an eye, can understand if that batch of pasta can go into the packaging section. So always checking if the pasta has been slow dried for pillars very well, long time, very slow. Like if the pasta entering cabins it takes like a kind of sauna style, you know, so humidity and hot air perfectly like let the pasta rest. So all the grain, all the organoleptic properties, all the good things of the pasta will stay there up to 50 hours at 45 degrees. Instead of, for example, the big industry that in 3 hours, 90 degrees.
How many hours did you say for yours?
50 hours,
Wow.
but every shape has a different recipe. So we do over 100 shapes and every shape has a different recipe. So outside it's sunny, outside it's rainy, the mastro pastaio need to adjust. That's why artisanal, because the mastro pastaio adjusts the dough. Less water, more strong, less strong, spaghetti, penne, rigatoni, everything. So that's the beauty behind our product. Sometimes,
you're working with flour and water, and every day it's something different.
Yes.
It's never consistent.
Yes.
Temperature, humidity, all these things.
Yeah,
can affect
because
it.
then we do egg pasta, and then we do spinach pasta, pepper pasta, lemon pasta, saffron pasta. So everything, the mixer is always there, like mixing everything, and it's beautiful. Also, I would say we do nero di seppia, like squiding pasta, and we use the real squid from the ink.
Wow.
So that's the thing that are making this brand really unique, really different, and can stand really out from the competition. So I'm really in love with my brand, of course.
Yeah.
I grown up like in the pasta world. So I've been eating pasta all my life, lunch and dinner. So I can really recognize also the differences, and I see the family, how much passion puts. So in that mixer, people ask which is the ingredients that you have. I say the first one is always passion. So the passion we have to make a great quality product is the first ingredient that we put in our pasta.
Yeah. So, you know, pasta can be so traditional, right? It can elicit wonderful memories from your past of your grandmother, your mother, or your family sitting down for dinner over a big bowl of pasta. So, as a 100-year-old company and a person at the helm or involved in that 100-year-old company, how do you balance trying to elicit those fond memories and traditions for people in the company, you know, because they can look at this and see dried pasta in a variety of shapes, and they can understand your process of drying and everything, but really they should be thinking about sitting down to the family table and having the premier products when they're doing that. So how do you balance that?
No, I love this question. I love this question because, you know, as I said also before, pasta is not a commodity.
Right.
So when you bring back like a box of, for example, this shape, caserecce, it's like a comfort food. You know, it's like tonight I feel okay because the Rustichella, you know, it's with me. We can have a great meal, experience a great product. You know, stay all together because pasta also connects people.
Yeah.
So it's like connecting hearts also. You know, having pasta something that brings you sitting in a table all together, because you eat pasta alone. I do pasta alone sometimes, of course, but most of the time it's you share it with someone.
Right.
And then, you know, I would say that in this world, a lot of space, you know, that maybe we go too romantic probably, but you know, a lot of space for violence. Sometimes it's nice also to really take some comfort, eat some great pasta, and be fine with your family and feel so happy about it. So I think it's you know, simple as we said. It's not means easy to make pasta. Is very simple, but if you make it well, you can really do and see and experience the difference.
Yeah. So a 100-year-old company. You know, when I've never been to Italy, unfortunately. I'm a bad Italian in that regards. But when I hear friends who have gone to Italy, they often talk about the little grandmothers in each town or village who are teaching them and doing classes on how to make pasta. So as a 100-year-old Italian company that makes pasta, that is known as one of the premier pasta brands, who puts all this time and energy into it, how do you sort of balance that modern technology with traditional methods?
Yeah, so our pasta factory are extremely modern, I would say, inside. So we also use very extremely new machines. So we need to ensure to the markets that the pasta is perfect from January to December. So artisanal in the methods of production, but not too artisanal that maybe I ensure you that the spaghetti is good in January and probably in February because it was too artisanal. then it's not nice. So we need to really be traditional in the way of making it, but so organized in the way of thinking business. So, I mean, serving 70 countries, a lot of strategy behind, a lot of planning, a lot of well execution. So, I mean, explaining our past, it's nice, it's so interesting, but at the same time, we need to be always updated to what is new and what makes us still continue to be alive and strong and be adapted to the change.
Right.
Change is always there. So if you don't follow the trend, if you don't follow the change, blockchain, we track all the traceability of our product. So we know everything about, not still coming to the States, but we usually put a QR code in our box and it's going to tell you at how many degrees the pasta has been dried, which kind of grain has been used, for how long, how pure was the bronze of the dye that the pasta has been extruded, who packaged your pasta, who was the pastaio. So all these things, like to make a company that it's small for sure, is artisanal in the way of thinking, but so organized in the way of approach the business. So that's also what I like. So we all started to really continue the legacy and make sure that the pasta will be always in the best shelf, in the best store, and eaten by the best customer.
Yeah. All right, so is there an incorrect method of using your pasta? I'll go back to, I had an interview earlier with Matteo, and I brought up, are you familiar with baked ziti?
What ziti, what do you say?
Baked ziti?
Baked ziti. But you have to say that I love mac and cheese. So, and also if you make mac and cheese with the Rustichella pasta, it's going to be top mac and cheese. So, I mean, there is no incorrect way because the product is good. So, as long as you make it well, not too much overcooked, but with nice carbonara, matriciana, whatever, you like it. And also mac and cheese, it's perfect. Yeah, I love mac and cheese. I had it 2 days ago in a steakhouse here.
I mean, this might sound like a dumb question, but what's on the horizon for the company?
So we want to continue to develop a lot here in the United States. So I'm probably going to move here next year. It's the most important market for us. It's giving us great satisfaction. We are present over 40 years in this market, so I think here I want to continue to expand and be well known. The awareness should even increase, and same for the rest of the country. So trying to really scream loud that pasta is not a commodity, and you can really find a great product to, and then as I say, to really experience something which is not only a plate of pasta, but it's a plate of pasta made with so much love.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate
Anthony.
it.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Loving meeting you.
Now is my conversation with Michele Fioroni, the Deputy President of Economic Development for the region of Umbria. I'm excited to be here. Very excited to be talking with you.
It's my pleasure. I'm excited too.
And so tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I am Michele Fioroni. I'm Deputy President for Economic Local Development of Umbria. Umbria is a region exactly in the middle of Italy, and everybody calls Umbria the green heart of Italy because Umbria has a wonderful green landscape and is a land of authenticity. We are probably the most authentic region in Umbria. And Umbria is not only a wonderful landscape, but is also a land full of hands and art. We have the highest density of artists, church, saints, St. Francis, San Benedetto, Santa Rita. The most important European saints came from Umbria. So we are also a land rich of spirituality. That's why today we say our claim in this fancy food show is Umbria tastes the spirit.
Okay. So tell me a little bit, how important are the traditions and the heritage of the region of Umbria to its food and its...
We have a very important tradition related to food. Because we made olive oil from Etruscan time. So Umbria has been Etruscan, has been Roman, and everyone, for example, in Umbria has got his own olive plant. So everyone make their olive oil. So that's why we have the most, maybe the highest quality in production of olive oil in Italy. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Here in Fancy Food, we have 2 producers. One of those has been honored as the best world olive oil all over. So
wow. That's amazing. What are there any food producers that stand out in your head, or farmers or growers or anybody in agriculture that stands out to you when you think of of the region and its food?
But I think we have a lot of high-end producer from the wine. For example, the wine that came from the area of Montefalco, Sagrantino, is very famous all around the United States. But we have lots of producers. We do not have so many big companies. We have a lot of small and medium producers, but they guarantee a very high standard of quality. We have a passion for quality.
Yeah,
it's like our best capacity to introduce products that have quality standard. Maybe we have to improve our marketing, because we are a little bit shy. We don't say we are the best, but everyone from the United States start to discover Umbria. So in the last decade, we have a very important attraction for the citizen from the United States that discover Umbria. And Umbria probably is like a hidden treasure in Italy. You have to go there, you have to lose yourself, you have to walk inside a vineyard, inside a plantation of olive, or maybe inside a forest where you can walk and under your feet you can discover a truffle, or you can make a truffle hunt with your dogs. That's quite usual in Umbria.
I think when I think of specific regions that grow and produce food, like olive oil, for example, or even truffles in Umbria, I think of the terroir, the area, the surroundings, and how it affects the flavor. But one thing I've sensed from talking to a lot of the Italian manufacturers and producers of food today is that their passion and their heritage affects the food as much as the soil or the climate does.
That's very important, because we love our food because we like to eat well. In our family, it was unbelievable that on the Sunday, where all the family is sitting around the table, it's not possible that the food is not good. And we still cook as tradition wants, as our grandmother did on the Sunday to celebrate the Sunday day. So
yeah.
we have a passion. We love what we eat. We love what we produce. We do not want compromise anyway, everywhere. So it's our distinction point, most important distinction point.
Is there a dish?
That's why, as you can see, where you see our brand Umbria, we use the heart, not only because we are the green heart of Italy, but the heart means passion in what we did, in what we produce, and in what we eat.
Is there a dish from when you were growing up that either you would say is a classic dish from the area, or just something that stands out in memory?
Okay, my favorite dish is famous, is my city, is tagliatelle with chicken liver.
Oh,
It's typical, but definitely my favorite one is tagliatelle with white truffles. Unbelievable. That's so amazing, so rich in taste. The flour of our truffle, we have both white and summer truffle. We call it pregiato di Norcia. Pregiato was mean the high quality of black truffle. But our white truffle is unbelievable. It's a short season.
Yeah.
It starts from the beginning of October, arriving until December. But I can say that the best white truffle all over the world came from Umbria. Even we do not promote so strong. We are not like Alba, they make a lot of exhibition. We just sit for ourselves, for our family. Just slice white truffle during our dinner or our lunch. So
Yeah.
that's why we have passion for food. First of all, we produce food for us.
So talk about the legacy of truffles for the region of Umbria. How does that play out? I mean, historically and then today, it's such an important aspect of food, and it seems like such a passion of people from the area.
Yeah. During the last year, the truffle economy developed also the technology related to black truffle. We do not only use fresh truffle, but we use truffle for preparation product like truffle oil, truffle butter, truffle sauce. So we are developing new technology to improve the quality of the product that are made by truffle. It's same, as you can imagine, there is a long tradition in the area like Val Nerina where people search truffle since a century ago. But we develop very important tourism, experiential tourism, where the visitors like to experience the truffle hunt. And that's very good experience because it's unbelievable when you see the face of an American that find a truffle just under his feet in the middle of a forest. It's unbelievable. The dog started to say, how do you say, not bite. Okay.
Yeah.
And they are exciting and they start to excavate. And it's unbelievable when they pick up from the ground the truffle. And they start to clear the truffle and smell the truffle. It's something unbelievable.
There's really nothing like that smell of a fresh truffle. Yeah.
When I was young, I didn't like the kind of smell, but unfortunately, when I grew up, I definitely adore the white truffle.
I have a son at home who's 18 months old, and he's had morels and fresh truffles, and I make sure he tastes these little things.
I tell you a story. When my wife was pregnant, we go to the doctor. You know, sometimes you do not eat something because you think that the milk has got a different taste. So, and I asked to the doctor, can my wife eat white truffle? He looks me in this way and he say, why? She don't like it?
That's good. So tell me, I've heard that there's a process of bringing prosciutto to the United States.
Yeah, that's for us maybe is the most important point of our present in those days, because after a long time, our famous, I say famous prosciutto di Norcia can be sold in the United States. You know, for FDA authorization, we need a long time, and I think that the prosciutto di Norcia is one of the most iconic product in all Italian food industry.
Wow.
So definitely, we have the approbation of FDA. That's a very important point. The U.S. customer needs other 50 months to receive our product because they need to age the ham from now. But don't forget that you have to wait the sensational experience to taste the prosciutto di Norcia. Just 15 months and we'll be ready in the United States.
It seems like, again, like what we talked about earlier, the passion that you have, even just for that product and for everything you've talked about from the region of Umbria. And again, I think the one thing that you can relate in all of these from all these wonderful producers of food from the region of Umbria is that passion, that heritage, that longevity that comes across.
I tell you this story. Just 1 week ago, I went to Norcia to celebrate this important news and make a personal training about cutting the ham.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And my trainer say, one time I make a prosciutto di Norcia slide for the Pope. It was long 1 meter. 1 meter. And the taste is unbelievable.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and taking time. I greatly appreciate it. And everybody who's watching and listening, definitely check out these amazing products that are coming out of the region of Umbria.
Now it's time for pasta truffle.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, you arrived at the right time.
Awesome. Great.
That's why you gave me an appointment at 1 p.m.
And now is my conversation with Maria Vittoria from Monti Trentini. Well, we are here with Maria, and tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Maria Vittoria, as Anthony was saying. I'm from Monti Trentini. Monti Trentini is a cheese company. We're an Italian cheese company. It's family owned. And we've been doing cheese since 1925, so almost a century old. We're based in North Italy, close to the mountains, an hour and a half away from Venice, but more close to the mountains. And we produce a various range of cheeses. We have all cow's milk, but we have like from the famous Grana Padano to the Asiago cheese, and then we have other cheeses, for example, our cheese with truffle, which is a truffle caciotta, and then we have cheeses with red chili pepper, with herbs, and then we have other typical cheeses that are typical to our region, which are, for example, the Lagorai and the Vezzana. Me, talking about myself a little bit, as I'm saying, I am Maria Vittoria and I take care of all the marketing and communication aspects of the company. I am part of the first generation of the company, as the company is now owned by my dad and actually three of his siblings. And yeah, I'm happy to be here in New York.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what does that? What's it like to be a part of a family that has been producing cheese in northern Italy for almost the last 100 years?
Oh, I mean, it's fun. I've been growing up around cheese basically because I lived very close to the production plant. So, growing up, I used to run around and actually play with my brothers among the cheese. So, it was very easy for me to get into the family business as well. And something that, I mean, it's common to all family businesses, but for us particularly, when we get together, it's always fun because we don't always talk about cheese, but when we do, we always discuss a little bit, and then maybe we're at the dinner and cheese is brought to us maybe in a plate or something, and there's always somebody that's saying, okay, let's make a panel test about this cheese. What do you think? What do you like? What do you think it's made of? And whoever gets the closest usually wins either a beer or something to drink or whatever. But yeah, it's fun being in a family business, and since we have a lot of tradition, and it's good to continue this business as well.
Is it typical, a lot of family businesses here in the States, especially in food and beverage, it's just kind of expected the next generation is gonna, first of all, they're free labor when they're young, and then second of all, they're going to continue and take on and move on. Is that, I mean, obviously a company that's almost 100 years old is gonna have that expectation to a certain extent, but is it similar in other family-owned businesses?
Oh, well, actually when I was younger, usually during the weekends, I would used to help my dad in the cheese plant, even in the production sometimes. So I get all dressed up and just little things, maybe just to keep in company sometimes. But I used to go there with him and help him out, and with me, my brothers as well. I have two brothers, which are not in the family business.
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, one is an engineer and the other one is a pharmacist. So two different worlds. But yeah, when we were little, we used to help my dad out sometimes. And my brother is also here in New York, but he just went out visiting.
Nice, yeah.
So lucky for him. But yeah, of course, at some point you help your parents.
Right.
So yes, at some point I did
Yeah.
help my mom. So it's very common to do it in any case.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so talk to me a little bit. I'm fascinated about the relationship that you have with the farmers, where you get your cow's milk from.
Yeah, so we collect the milk from 150 small farms actually, all around the region. So I don't know if you're familiar with Trentino, but it's very there are a lot of mountains, so it's not as easy, to drive through the region. So we collect the cheese from the milk from all these farms, and most of them they've been working with us for a long time. 40 years, 50 years, a long time, yeah. And most of them are also family owned. So it's either like brothers or a family, just the father with the daughter, or just like a couple. So we're a family and they're a family, and this is also what makes us connect more easily as well. It's important for us to preserve this type of relationship with them, because they help us preserve also the mountain and the mountain area, because of course you need to. We like our cows to be in the mountains, so especially during the summertime, farmers they take the cows and they bring them up to the mountains so they can just walk around and graze the grass and everything. But to do that, it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But if they do that, of course, cows are gonna. I know it sounds a little silly, but cows are gonna be happier.
Yeah.
And of course, in terms of landscape, it's gonna be better for everybody, because they keep the grass clean, and also they keep the trees away from the towns as well. Because if they eat around the trees, they're not going to grow and get in closer to the towns. So that's an important thing for us as well, living in the mountains.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All right, so a company that's been making, a family that's been making cheese for the last 100 years, how do you kind of balance the old school traditions and heritage with, newer innovations in the industry?
Well, I think we're actually lucky, because my dad and his siblings, they always tried to bring innovation inside the company, much more than my granddad. But they always tried to bring something new and technology as well to help us with taking care of all the production process, especially because what we value the most is the quality of our cheeses. And we need to make sure that every step in the production process is, looked after and taken care of. And of course, technology helps us do that. So we always try to bring innovation in, either through some robots or something that, also artificial intelligence as well. So we always try to do that. Also because you need to be always more efficient than the day before, so it's something that we need to do to keep up with the market as well.
Yeah. Have you noticed, are there trends in the demand from consumers for different cheeses that's changed over the last 5-6 years? It's an interesting question, the one you posed me, but for cheese, and for our cheese in particular, we're a traditional company, so we produce traditional cheeses. We always try to find some particular new things that we can, launch year after year. And then to answer your question, it depends on the type of market that you're looking into. Because, for example, we are an international company, meaning that we export our products from Italy throughout the whole world. Yeah.
So you can find us in the United States as well, like in Colombia, for example. Or Mexico, and then depending on the type of market, consumers look for different things. For example, in Colombia and Mexico, they like soft cheeses.
Yeah.
So in the last 5-6 years, there is like a higher demand for soft cheeses. While, for example, in the United States, they like pre-cut cheeses. So So it's not a matter of flavor, sometimes it's just a matter of how you present the product. So the type of cuts, the type of weight, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. All right, so talk to me about the production facility. I mean, such a massive operation. I mean, I'm assuming that there are just thousands of these huge wheels of cheese everywhere.
Yeah, we have a big warehouse where we store Grana Padano, Asiago, and all the cheeses that need the aging period. We actually divided our warehouse into in two rooms. One room is dedicated to the Grana Padano, and we have some robots that every 2 weeks they turn the wheel, they clean it, and then they put it back into place.
Wow.
While on the other side we have the other warehouse where we have the Asiago and the Vizzina and all the other cheeses, and that type of operation. So to take the wheel, turn it, clean it, and put it back inside the warehouse is done manually.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people that work with us. We are 120 people,
Wow.
so there's a lot of us, and but yeah, everybody works all together with just one main goal, just to make good cheeses. That's what we want to do. But yeah, our production plant has been where we are actually for about 35 years now, because we had to move the production from the mountains down to the valley, because logistic-wise it was too difficult to stay in the mountains, because roads are turns and turns and turns. Well, now we're still in the mountain, but down in the valley, so trucks can go by easily, and so that's how we make our product come to the United States. But yes, as I'm saying, our production facility is basically divided in 5 different departments. So we have, as I was saying, the warehouse. We have the production of Asiago cheese, the production of Grana Padano, and the production of the caciotta cheeses, which are the ones that are softer. And then the last one is the department where we pack and wrap, we cut and wrap all the cheeses.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So the territory. I mean, the terroir that we hear so much in specific regions, especially in wines. What are those flavors of your region that people can taste in your cheeses?
Well, it's funny that you brought it up, because people don't always associate the terroir also with cheese, but it's something very important, because cows eat grass, the grass that is growing in that type of region. So every region that you go to has some different flavors. For example, when we bring the cows to the mountains, usually the milk they produce is a little more yellow in color. So that of course translates to a more yellow products. During the summertime we have yellower wheels of cheese. And then if you smell them, you can definitely smell flowers, you can smell fresh grass. And with aging, people that have like a very good nose, they can smell nuts, they can smell leather, sometimes they can smell even pineapple.
Wow.
So it depends. It's a good thing, the terroir that we are, the territory that we are, just makes makes the cheese better as well.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so is there someone who's listening or watching, what's 1 or 2 things that you would want everyone to know about the company and your family's history?
Well, I think like one of the main things that people need to know about our company is that we're authentic. So everything that we produce and everything that we sell, it's 100% Italian. As I was saying before, we use the milk that comes from like the farms that are close to us. We are not buying milk from anywhere else in Europe, so that's very important for me as well. And then second thing is that if we were able to be a company that's 100 years old, making cheese, which is not as an easy industry, but we are very close to each other. Like the family is very close, and we like working together, which is, I think it's a good point. But yeah, I think quality-wise and the main ingredient, which is milk, are the most important things. So,
Yeah, very interesting. thank you so much for taking time and sitting down with me. It was great to meet you.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. Best of luck at the rest of the show.
Thank you, Anthony. It was a pleasure for me. Thank you.
Well, there it is, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and watching this week's episode of the Eat Local New York podcast. You can find out more information about us and the podcast over at eatlocalnewyork.com. And make sure you check out the show notes so that way you can get links to each one of these guests and the companies that they represent here from the podcast. Check them out. Make sure to go and find their products. You can find them online. You can find them, I'm sure, in some import stores in your area, but make sure you check them out and see what they're all about. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll catch you back here next week for a brand new episode of the Eat Local New York podcast.